afternoon, Penn Trafford, and welcome to a new edition of What's Up Warriors. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Sarah.
Today we have a look at students' plans for spring break, a recap of the Sages Army Assembly, a look at Jim Fogel, a man who is wrongfully convicted. We then get some information on April Fool's Day and the Science Fair, and finally wrap it up with a look at men's spring fashion. Let's get started. PT has many students who do something exciting for spring break. Lauren Volovic sat down with some students to see who's doing what this year.
I'm Lauren, and I'm going to figure out what some students are doing for spring break. Let's go.
I'm probably going to do all of my homework, study for all my big tests, and hang out with my friend Jake. Schick.
I am going to Miami, and I'm going to visit the Miami Iron Gym, and I'm going to South Beach just to hang out with family and stuff like that.
I'd have to say I'm probably going to go see the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. With they recently put a new actor in to portray the character of Roderick. It is no longer Devin Bostick, and I think that could go one of two ways. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. It's one of those, you know.
I went to Niagara Falls 2 years ago, and I'm going to go back this year and have a blast.
I'm going to visit a friend down in Tampa. I was on this cruise, and I really met this really nice girl. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go visit her down in Tampa. I was looking for some airline tickets the other day, and they're relatively cheap, so I'm going to go down for about 3 or 4 days, you know, say hi, visit the campus, I guess you could say, and have a good time, hopefully.
So I'm going to Maryland, and my mom's sister is having a baby, so I'll be able to see that. It's actually being born tomorrow. Girl.
I'm going to be going to convention, which is in Hershey. It's a Christian-based camp. Other than that, I think I'm going to be playing video games and sleeping.
This has been Lauren reporting for BTV. Back to you guys in the studio.
From 2012 to 2016, there have been over 528 deaths from heroin overdoses in our county, and 21 cases are still being investigated. Ms. Stefkovich and the members of SAD brought in Carmen Capozzi, the founder of Sages Army, to talk about how this drug affected his son, along with a former student. Sierra Rudick and I had a chance to sit down with Carmen, Nate, and SAD to find out more on this cause.
This past Monday, Penn Trafford High School and the SAD team had the founder of Sages Army and a former student come in and talk to our students about the drug heroin. I had a chance to sit down with Carmen, Nate, and the SAD team to find out more.
I think we realized that it was time to bring a very important message to Penn Trafford from a parent that has lost his own son from the Norwin area to a drug overdose, and a former student that walked these halls, sat in these seats, and explained what the impact drugs, especially heroin, have on people's lives.
We just want people to know that drug abuse it's scary how common it's getting, and we want people to realize that they need to do something about it, because if you're addicted, it's really hard to do something yourself.
We feel that to bring somebody in that nobody really knows or doesn't know where they're from, it doesn't have as much of an impact. But when you bring somebody in that says, hey, my son went to Norwin, which is 5 minutes down the road, that's a game changer for us, I think.
The cause is so important to me because I lived it, because I lived the struggle with my son. If I can stop one kid in this school from doing it, that's the goal.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, how old you are, how much money you have. You know, when addiction grabs a hold of you, it grabs a hold of you and it doesn't let go. I wish I could have fast forwarded the tape, you know, and looked at somebody else's life and where their life went once they started using drugs to, you know, that my life was going to end up there.
Fighting different legislation, working with doctors, working with judges. I sit on the Advisory Council for Drug and Alcohol Abuse in Harrisburg. I'm part of the solution now. If you have somebody that's going through it, the best thing to do is to reach out to them. And what I say is tell them you love them and tell them that you're here to help them.
Students are now going to put this in the back of their minds, so whenever they do something, they know that the consequences are deadly. Whenever they make a decision, you have to understand that it can alter the course of your life.
Hopefully everybody learned from this assembly and realized the dangers drugs can do to a person and will think twice before trying them. This has been Sierra Rudick and Sarah Simpson for PTV. Jim Fogel came to speak to the seniors and forensic students earlier this month and told them his story of being wrongfully convicted and sent to prison. Nick Desmond talks with Mr. Rocco, who helped organize this event, to share his story.
Wrongful convictions and imprisonments are an epidemic in the United States, with around 10,000 wrongful convictions a year. Jim Fogel came to speak at the school about his experiences and to share his story. I talked with Mr. Rocco about Jim's struggles and what can be done to help.
Okay, Jim Fogel was wrongfully convicted for 34 years for a rape and a murder of a 15-year-old girl in Indiana County. Since he got out, he has really been trying to adapt to what life is like now. He told me when we were together for our presentation that it was like they plucked him off the street and put him in jail, and they put him right back where he was. And he said it's been very difficult to adjust to new things, technology, the way food is now, and really the pace of life. It's been very, very difficult for him. Yeah, right now he's working with the Innocence Project. Actually, he started working with the Innocence Project while he was in prison. He actually did most of the legal work himself. He went into prison with below an 8th grade education and taught himself law, which is remarkable considering that he is dyslexic. Right now, he is trying desperately to get Senate Bill 1274 passed that would aid those that have been wrongfully convicted. But I think what we've done here is, we decided to take a little bit of a step further and take some action. We have one student that is actively raising funds to help Jim. That's going on with something as simple as a candy sale.
Jim currently paints and sells his own artwork, a trade he picked up behind bars. Show your support by purchasing a lollipop. All proceeds go towards helping Jim through his journey. Reporting for PTV, this has been Nick Desmond.
April Fool's Day is a day where people play innocent tricks on each other, from putting toothpaste in Oreos to putting baby powder in hair dryers. Rachel and Maria went around the halls of PT to see if students know anything about this strange holiday.
Every year we celebrate April Fool's Day, a day where we play pranks on each other. But does anyone here at PT actually celebrate this holiday or know why we do? Let's go find out. Do you celebrate April Fool's Day?
I did when I was younger. My brother kind of does a little bit. We kind of do stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever been pranked on April Fool's Day?
I have. Last year I was pranked by my mother.
What'd she do?
She took the Oreos and put toothpaste in between them.
That's gross.
My dad pretended he had a fish hook through his thumb.
Someone broke their leg in fifth grade. Someone came in with crutches, so yeah, that was not fun.
That was the prank? They pretended to break their leg?
Yeah, it wasn't fun at all.
Whenever my sister put a bucket of water above my door, and I open the door and the bucket hits you with the water.
It's like life, yeah.
Life happened. Good. What was the best prank you've ever played on anyone?
When I was 5, I told my mom I got a detention, and I made a little slip, and it said Michaela got a detention, and I tried to sign it as my teacher. She did not believe me.
Why do you think we celebrate April Fool's Day?
Because life sucks and we need fun.
To have fun.
Because school's a joke.
School's a joke. Okay.
Just to have a good time in America and let off some steam. Have a good joke every once in a while.
I have no idea. Not gonna lie. Maybe for good laughs.
Believe it or not, there is an actual reason as to why we celebrate April Fools. Pope Gregory XIII changed the calendar so that the new year would start on January 1st instead of April 1st. Some people didn't like this and kept celebrating New Year's on April 1st. The others called these people fools and sent them on fool's errands. This has been Maria and Rachel for PTV.
The Science Fair is Penn Trafford's local celebration of the sciences. To see what some of Penn Trafford students created, we sent Alex Wargo down to check it out.
With the science fair happening 2 weeks ago, I decided to stop down and see some of the science projects.
So far, yes, it's been successful. We got a lot of projects. Like I said, 55 participating. If they all come, that's perfect. But, we might have five or so not show up, which is typical. Some of the entries, we have a lot of density columns. We got a couple of volcanoes. We have this Velcro display right here. Those are just a few, just a few of the many.
So what we did here, the project is called Hey Ho Velcro, and so basically what we did is we just took a bunch of Velcro strips and smack them up on the wall to the corresponding Velcro. Yeah. So just like different types of Velcro. Got ones that hold a little more, a little less. Just depends on the hooks and such. It took us approximately like 2 hours to assemble all the equipment and do all the research and just all around get the project all together. This setup took like, I don't know, 5 minutes or so.
My project, me and my friends, we built a trebuchet. It is a medieval siege weapon that was used in the until the 1400s. This took us about 6 hours to construct, and staging took a whole different amount of time, but it's been a fun project. We were offered bonus for physics if we entered something, and we started just joking around about trebuchets, and next thing we know, we had one built. This whole entire thing probably took about 4 or 5 days.
All right, well, our science fair project is how different temperature water affects the respiration of betta fish. Our betta fish here, Subject Alpha, he is alive and well, believe me. He had a good time doing this, and so did we. Well, the research stage was about a few hours, and then putting it all together took about 10 minutes.
I did organic deer exclosures. Basically what I did was I built this diorama here to demonstrate what an organic deer exclosure is. It's an economical way of conducting ecological research. This diorama took me about 2 weeks to make because it's my first time building a diorama, and this research that went into the poster took about a week.
That's out with the science fair. This has been Alex Wargo reporting for PTV.
Have you been wondering what to wear this spring or for prom? We sent Trent Soames III to the Men's Warehouse in Westmoreland Mall to get the scoop on the latest trends.
Spring is just around the corner, and with it, a change in style. We headed down to the Men's Warehouse in Westmoreland Mall to see what the latest trends are.
Spring is all about color. Coming out of winter, winter is typically your darker tones. Spring is a little bit more of your earth tones and your light tone sky tones, which would in touch be light blues, powder blues, royal blues, light grays as in shark skin gray. Also, of course, your tans, shark skin tan, true tan. You can even get into light browns with some undertone window panes of blues, purples, and greens. And then, of course, you have your pinks, your lilac purples. Think of your Easter colors, right? Like, so pinks, purples, check patterns, stripes. All these things kind of go into that spring montage. What you see that goes away is like your, I mean, don't get me wrong, charcoal gray suits are always going to be universal, but color tone wise, that's not usually the first thing we'll show if somebody's looking at something specifically for the season.
We also got some insight into the latest prom trends.
Springtime also means prom time. So with prom time, we like to focus some different colors in terms of that springtime feel, with of course keeping an eye on neutrality. So neutrality would be, of course, your classic black. Any vest and tie combination is going to work with it, whether you're pairing something of more of a blue with a black, or even a subtle white, especially for weddings. But don't be afraid of pinks or even watermelon in terms of with your black aspects. Light gray is all the rage right now because it's different than black, so therefore it creates just a different type of feel. Pair that with a nice pair of brown shoes like we have here, and again, it just uplifts the color and keeps it light, keeps it neutral. But of course, we're one of the very few companies out there that carries a navy blue tuxedo to rent. All of these tuxedos are made by Joseph Abboud, which is our premium collection, and of course one of our private labels. One of the exciting things is to even make it more personal is we have a prom rep program. So you would have the opportunity to earn your tuxedo for free, which is no different than any referral program. We give you a number, you pass out a bunch of cards to your friends, and for every one of your friends that comes back in, you get credit for bringing them in. 5 referrals can get you a free tux or a $400 shopping spree coupon.
That's all from the Men's Warehouse. This is Trent Soames reporting for PTV.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of What's Up Warriors. We'll see you next Monday for a daily dose of Wake Up Warriors. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Sarah.
Have a good weekend, Penn Trafford.